I want to describe some of the effects you would encounter when drugs interact, because such drugs are either substrates for or inducers or inhibitors of a certain CYP. So in the first scenario, you have an example of a prodrug, that is a drug that requires enzymatic activity in the body before it is activated. So if you require a CYP to activate that prodrug, for example, the drug clopidogrel or Plavix, it's an active, that's what the I there stands for, and it requires this particular CYP, 2C19, to be activated into the to the metabolite that is active. So if concurrently the patient is on a very common drug like Nexium or Prilosec, Prilosec has the ability to inhibit CYP2C19. As a result, the inactive form of the drug persists more and you have less of the active form. This leads to an inactive drug, and this could be fatal, particularly in cases where clopidogrel is used in a hyper thrombotic situation. In the second scenario, so in this case, you have a drug that is active and it requires a CYP to metabolize it to an inactive form. So the drug has some beneficial effect. In this case, Vicodin might be used for pain. So if you, and it's metabolized by several CYPs, I showed here 2D6 and 3A4. If you used a drug like Prozac that has the ability to inhibit 2D6, or even food like grapefruit juice that could inhibit CYP3A4. So if you use either of these two, of course what will happen is Vicodin, that is the active form, will persist because you are no longer able to metabolize it. And once it persists, it causes beneficial effect, but if that is excessive, it could lead to toxic effects. In the third scenario, you have a drug like warfarin, which is an anticoagulant. It is used a lot in cases where you think a patient might have a blood clot. So a patient has has had a stroke or a myocardial infarction, and it's at risk for a thrombotic effect that could worsen the infarction or that could even lead to death. So warfarin is used quite a lot. So warfarin itself is active, and if you use it, it gives you that beneficial effect. It is, however, metabolized by many CYPs, 1A2, 2C9, or 3A4. And if, for example, the person's lifestyle includes taking tobacco, a person smokes, well, tobacco is able to induce 1A2. By so doing, it increases the metabolism of warfarin to the inactive form. Secondly, if the patient is one of those people that want to, use a lot of herbs and because supposedly all herbs are healthy, well, garlic supplements has been shown to induce the activity of CYP3A4, and that could be significant because, as we know, 3A4 is the heavy-duty CYP metabolizing enzyme, a drug metabolizing enzyme, and so